Live NFL trivia every Tuesday night on Twitch at 9 p.m. Eastern. Come show off your football knowledge and have a chance to win cash prizes. Check the link in the description to find out more. And now, on with our feature presentation. Something dawned on me while I was watching this game. In one way, the Bucs blowing out the Chiefs in Super Bowl 55 was surprising. I'm not sure anyone expected the Chiefs offense to lay an egg like it did, especially after what happened in the regular season. While I thought the Bucs would win, I'm not sure anyone expected the Bucs to blow out the Chiefs. But in the other way, this shouldn't have been surprising. History repeats itself. We've seen this game before. Super Bowl 55 was literally just Super Bowl XVIII, but set in the 21st century. The parallels between this past Super Bowl and the one held 37 years prior are almost shocking, to the point where everything about this game, from the location to how it turned out, were almost identical. In fact, there were 10 parallels that I noted, with some way more specific and crazier than others. So with that being said, let's talk about Sunday's Super Bowl, which was a game that you saw nearly 4 decades ago. Number 1. Super Bowl XVIII was held in Tampa. Super Bowl 55 was also held in Tampa. That one's pretty straightforward. But how about number 2? Super Bowl XVIII was lost by Washington. Washington was the defending champion, as they won their last Super Bowl over the Miami Dolphins, a team that had lost one Super Bowl in franchise history and even repeated back in the early 70s. Washington entered that game at 14-2 and was the number 1 seed in their conference. However, they got pummeled and lost the game because they put up just 9 points. Now let's look at this Super Bowl. Super Bowl 55 was lost by Kansas City. Kansas City was the defending champion, as they won the last Super Bowl over the San Francisco 49ers, a team that had lost one Super Bowl in franchise history and even repeated back in the late 80s. Kansas City entered this game at 14-2 and was the number 1 seed in their conference. However, they got pummeled and lost the game because they put up just 9 points. But what about the teams that won? Well, Super Bowl XVIII was won by the Raiders, a team that had never lost a Super Bowl before, and finished the season with the 3rd best offense in football, scoring 442 points. Super Bowl 55 was won by the Buccaneers, a team that had never lost the Super Bowl before, and finished the season with the 3rd best offense in football, having scored 492. The makeup of both of these games was interesting as well, because both were rematches of regular season contests. During the 1983 season, Washington played the Raiders in the regular season, and Washington entered that game with 1 loss. Washington won the game by 2, with Joe Theismann throwing for over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a passer rating of 121.4. However, despite winning the regular season matchup, Washington got blown out in the Super Bowl. Now let's jump ahead to this season. Kansas City played Tampa Bay in the regular season, and Kansas City entered that game with 1 loss. Kansas City won the game by 3, with Patrick Mahomes throwing for over 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a passer rating of 124.7. However, despite winning the regular season matchup, Kansas City got blown out in the Super Bowl. It gets even crazier though when you look at what happened at the end of the first half in each of those games. At Super Bowl XVIII, a highly controversial coaching decision by Joe Gibbs was made at the end of the half. Washington trailed after allowing 14 points, and they decided to be aggressive. With 12 seconds left, pinned at their own 12-yard line, instead of going into the halftime break, they decided to call a play. This was especially controversial since Washington was getting the ball to start the half, but I guess Washington just wanted to cut the deficit. This strategy failed, as Theismann threw a pick 6. Washington went into the halftime break trailing after allowing 21 points. You can learn more about that by clicking the card in the upper right corner. At Super Bowl 55, a highly controversial decision by Andy Reid was made at the end of the half. Kansas City trailed after allowing 14 points, and they decided to be aggressive by calling timeouts to try and get the ball back, even though Tampa Bay seemed content going into the halftime break with a 1-possession lead. This was especially controversial since Kansas City was getting the ball to start the half, but I guess Kansas City wanted to cut the deficit. This strategy failed, as the Bucs scored a touchdown. Kansas City went into the halftime break trailing after allowing 21 points. So far, this is pretty crazy. And when you look at the losing quarterbacks, it gets a bit nuttier. Super Bowl XVIII featured Joe Theismann, an MVP quarterback, getting obliterated by the defense of the Raiders. In that game, Theismann threw no touchdowns, 2 picks, fumbled once, and had a passer rating of 45.3. It was the worst game of Theismann's 1983 season from a passer rating standpoint. Super Bowl 55 featured Patrick Mahomes, an MVP quarterback, getting obliterated by the defense of the Buccaneers. In that game, Mahomes threw no touchdowns, 2 picks, fumbled once, and had a passer rating of 52.3. It was the worst game in Mahomes' 2020 season from a passer rating standpoint. When you look at how the scoring went down, it was also crazy. At Super Bowl 18, the first touchdown was when Jim Plunkett, a former Super Bowl MVP, threw a red zone touchdown to Cliff Branch, a man who led the league in receiving touchdowns 9 years prior. Branch had 13 touchdowns during that 1974 season, which was tops in football. At Super Bowl 55, the first touchdown was when Tom Brady, a former Super Bowl MVP, threw a red zone touchdown to Rob Gronkowski, a man who led the league in receiving touchdowns 9 years prior. Gronkowski had 17 touchdowns during that 2011 season. And for the final touchdown of each game, at Super Bowl 18, Marcus Allen, a former first-round pick, ran for 74 yards. It was the longest run of the game. Meanwhile, with the final touchdown at Super Bowl 55, Leonard Fournette, a former first-round pick, ran for 27 yards. It was the longest run of the game. The similarity between the losses is almost uncanny from a historical standpoint. Washington lost Super Bowl 18, which was their second loss in Super Bowl history. Their other loss was in their first Super Bowl appearance ever, which came at Super Bowl 7. In that game, held at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, they scored just 1 touchdown. Kansas City lost Super Bowl 55, which was their second loss in Super Bowl history. Their other loss was in their first Super Bowl appearance ever, which came at Super Bowl 1. And in that game, held at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, they scored just 1 touchdown. But we might have saved the best for last. The scoreline similarities are uncanny. At Super Bowl 18, the Raiders won 38-9, and at Super Bowl 55, the Buccaneers won 31-9. Now you might be saying that these scores are not identical, and you're right, and it's always dangerous to play the game of hypotheticals and what-ifs, because it can go both ways, and it's assuming that everything else stays the same. But remember that in the second quarter of Super Bowl 55, the Bucs left 7 points on the board with a drop touchdown pass. If that touchdown is caught, and everything else stays the same, then the final score of Sunday's Super Bowl would have been, you guessed it, 38-9. Super Bowl 18 and Super Bowl 55 were almost identical games. Somehow, on football's biggest stage, history found a way to repeat itself. Be sure to like this video, ring the notification bell, and subscribe down below if you haven't already, as it helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out Twitch every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for your chance to play NFL trivia and win cash prizes. Link in the description below. If you want to see videos like this condensed down to 60 seconds, then follow me on TikTok at JaredGator9 and subscribe to 60-Second NFL History on YouTube. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.